Hello, friends. How are you doing today? Um, so this week, I actually recorded a video and I was going to sit down today and edit it and, do all this stuff and publish that. And that was going to be my video for this week. If you didn't catch my live stream a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how I am committing to posting a video, either publishing or just doing a live stream, but publishing something every week for the next 2 years. I'm trying to do this, kind of long commitment thing, um, based on the advice that I've seen from a very well-known YouTuber, Ali Abdal, and he says, publish once a week for 2 years, and amazing things can happen. So I don't have any specific goals for like what I want to see happen within the next 2 years, but I also recognize the power of just showing up consistently and being there for people, and how kind of in this day and age that feels exceptional because we're all going through so much. So anytime, someone is there consistently, we notice that. So so I wanted to do that. I wanted to be that presence for people. So and then where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So anyways, that was the challenge, and so I had a video all ready to go. I was going to publish it, and our schedule is kind of being messed with a little bit. That's why I'm streaming much earlier than I usually do. If I stream on a Friday, it'll be closer to like 4 p.m. Central Time. Um, so I'm just going to do the live stream today, and now I've got a video kind of already. Well, it's already filmed, and all I have to do is edit it for next week, which is great because Christmas is right around the corner and things are going to get busy. This is the last day of school for the kids. It was a half day. Some of them are already home. So it's like, oh, wow, we're about to go into crazy town. So it'll be nice to have something in the buffer. But today I'm like waving around as I'm talking. I'm waving around my journal, and this is going to be important in a minute. I'm going to set it down for now. Today, I want to talk about a book that might just change your life. It's called Atomic Habits. And actually, now that I think about it, this is kind of funny. I'm like realizing this right now as I'm saying it. But the video that I recorded yesterday is basically what I'm going to share with you today. So we'll see. I may or may not go with that. I might have something else. It'll be good either way. Um, but Atomic Habits is a book by James Clear. I think if I hold it on this side, because it's got this like gold, so shiny and stuff. Um, but but it's a book by James Clear, and the subtitle is An Easy and Proven Way to Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones. And kind of the big idea with his book is that a lot of the major changes that we want to see in our lives don't come from like these big, one-time actions, but it's really like small things that we do, small habits over time that produce the biggest results. James Clear talks a lot about just getting 1% better, and how that doesn't feel like the kind of satisfying progress that we want to see. But when we look back over a year, or we look back over 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, improving in those small increments over a long period of time can have a tremendous impact on many different areas of our lives. And so this book was transformational for some of the things that I was trying to, like, habits that I was trying to get rid of, habits that I was trying to build during the time that it came out. I read through it, I applied the stuff, and really, like, that time in my life was one of the times where I saw the most growth in the areas that I really wanted to improve. So highly recommend it. I can't encourage you enough to check out this book for yourself. So I've been posting Instagram stories, and this is one of the other things. Like a few days back, I was thinking back to the times when I used to post stories every day, and I had a lot more going on doing like freelance work and that kind of thing. So like I was in different locations, and I felt like I had something interesting to share with people. But I started thinking about like what I had spoken about here on my channel a few weeks ago, how the most important thing is not necessarily what you share or whether or not it's compelling. That is important, but the more important thing than that is just showing up. And I thought, Instagram stories is a great place where I can show up and kind of be present with people every day. And the super fun thing that's been happening just in the past few days that I've been doing this is I've gotten messages from people. There's somebody who messaged me, and I was like, oh, hey, we really need to, have you guys over for dinner sometime. And so it's really great. It's kind of like reconnecting me with people that I've had kind of lost touch with a little bit. And what I decided I would do, just because, I do want to try to make it interesting. I want to make sure that what I'm sharing there is worth people's time, is I came up with a list of a few things that I wanted to be sure to share every day. And then there are other things, like I was a couple of days ago, I was shooting something for a video project, and I shared that. And I'm working, like I have an ongoing project that I'm working on. I shared some of that. So there are extra things, but this is kind of the main list. And these are things that I try to publish on my Instagram story every single day. And by the way, if you want to follow me on my Instagram, if you want to follow my Instagram stories, I'm just at Ben Tolson. I'm at Ben Tolson everywhere on all of the things. So what I share in my stories are my daily three. So my daily three are three habits that I'm trying to build. And the approach that I'm taking is I'm choosing habits that I want to spend the next 6 weeks trying as best I can to do every single day. And so they're things that um, generally, and a lot of habits kind of fall under the category of things that if you do for about 6 weeks, it starts to really take root in your life. And you're more likely to continue doing those things, and you can move on to developing other habits. And so that's kind of like I'm taking this in a 6 week sprint, and I'm going to, see what my results are at the end of that 6 weeks and kind of document that process. So I've got three habits that I'm focusing on. So I share those every day. I have a mug of the day because I love coffee mugs, and I kind of uh, just started collecting coffee mugs because I would see one. I'm like, oh, I love that coffee mug. I do enjoy coffee, but I also, like I drink tea sometimes. But I have lots and lots of mugs, and I just keep buying them when I see interesting ones. Um, and so like I have a lot of different ones, and I try to like cycle through them so that they don't collect too much dust or whatever. But I have a mug of the day, and some of those mugs like come with stories that I'll share. So that's fun for me. I don't know if it's interesting for other people, but and then I've got, excuse me, some kind of encouragement or affirmation, something that I'm celebrating. So if I have something to celebrate, and then a goal I'm working toward. And sometimes that goal can be a personal goal, it can be a professional goal. Um, and so those are the things that I try to share in my story at some point throughout my day, every single day. So you kind of think of that as like a habit in and of itself, but the daily three are the ones that I really want to focus on. So my daily three for this 6 weeks are drinking um, between, I think it's between 100 and 120 ounces of water, because I just wasn't drinking enough water. Like every single day, I was having plenty of coffee. I would maybe have like a sparkling water with my meals, but I wasn't just drinking straight water. And I was kind of constantly dehydrated because of that. So I'm trying to drink a lot more water. That's, you know, and it feels weird that like I have to make that a habit. You're like, surely something that you need to survive, you wouldn't have to build a habit around. Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of do. The second one is meditating. So really just any length of time. I'm not putting any kind of, I'm really just trying to build the daily practice of meditating. And then the third one is reading for 15 minutes. And so I have I have a long list of a bunch of different habits that I want to build. And the way that I'm kind of thinking about this kind of goes back to the big idea in Atomic Habits. That's the big changes you want to see. If those big changes really come down to your habits, then your habits is kind of where you want to focus your energy. As you build and maintain the right habits, those habits will lead you to the results that you want to see. And so reading for me, like the end goal is I want to have a habit of reading because a lot of the deeper ideas that I'm so in, like I love watching like impact theory when they have different guests on talking about anything from like the science of longevity to how to uh, how to have better emotionally intelligent conversations with people that you disagree with. Like they cover all kinds of really interesting topics like that. And they're always recommending, like they're saying, oh, and this guest wrote a book. And a part of my brain is the lazy part is like, but I can just watch this video and I can get the best ideas and I get it. But every single time I've sat down and I've actually read a book, I gain a much deeper understanding and I catch a lot more of the nuances. And the way that I kind of think about it is, watching when you watch a video, it's kind of impersonal. Um, you're hearing the ideas from that person, but there's a little bit of a disconnect. Whereas reading a book, because it slows you down, it's a longer process. You read a book, I mean, it's not a huge book, but like I'll read this over several days. And so it's almost like you're spending that time with that person in a way, like, and the people that you spend time with are the people whose ideas tend to rub off on you the most, whose lifestyle and values you start to kind of gravitate toward. And so I've seen the effects of that, and I want more of that in my life. Like I just want to gain deeper knowledge, and I feel like having a reading habit is where it's at. The water thing is really just because I want to be healthier overall in general. There are lots, I've got a whole list of things that I want to build habits around just to improve my overall health. And then the meditation one is one of those, not just for health, but for my productivity, for my relationships. Meditation touches a lot of different areas of my life. And so those are kind of the big transformations that I want from these small habits. And the two major principles from this book that I'm going to go ahead and share with you. I made a video on my channel about habits, and I shared some more of this stuff. And if you kind of search on my channel, you can find that. It's a fun video. It's a little bit long, but I think it's fun, and it gets into a lot of really good stuff. I'm just going to share two things, and then again, go check it out for yourself. But the two major principles are the framework that he builds, that James Clear builds around habits, is a 4-step process that we go through anytime we kind of carry out a habit. And That process is cue, craving, response, reward. So the cue being like we see or hear or smell something, and that triggers some kind of a craving, and we respond to that craving, and as as we respond to that craving, we're rewarded in some way. So like this is a really simple thing. Like I'm driving my kids to school every single morning, and some other kids. We carpool. I drop everyone off, and I'm on my way home, and I'm like, man, I haven't had any coffee yet. I pass a Starbucks on the way home, and I see it. And now it's not just the Starbucks, but like I can see the turn before I can even see the Starbucks sign, and that's a small cue that reminds me, oh, um, there's coffee there, and specifically a mocha latte. That's my absolute favorite. So I have that craving. I respond by putting on my blinker and getting into the turning lane and driving to Starbucks to claim my reward, which is the mocha latte. So that might be a bad habit that I should break. And he talks about that in the book as well. But that's basically how it works. So cue, craving, response, reward. And so from that, and I want to make sure I find, okay. So from that, he develops a framework for how to build a good habit and how to break a bad habit. I'm focusing on how to create a good habit. So what he uses for cue is if it's a habit that you want to build, you want to make it obvious. So you want the cue for whatever that habit is to be obvious. So for the water thing, I've got this big silver clean canteen, 32 ounces, and I leave it right next to the sink. And that's just where it is. And so I walk into the kitchen several times a day, and when I do, like, the big silver clean canteen is just sitting there. You can't miss it. And it's right next to, this is, okay, um, make it attractive. So attractive could be something like I like the way the water bottle, because it's like silver, it reflects the sunlight and it's cool looking. Um, I mean, that seems like a silly thing, but I'm also thinking about like the water inside the water bottle and kind of what it smells like, because water's got a little bit of a smell, I guess. Um, make it easy. All right, so those are, sorry, I'm getting ahead. So make it obvious is the cue. Make it attractive is the craving part. So um, so you want it to be something that attracts you, that kind of triggers that craving. And then make it easy is for the response part. And so the way I make it easy is I have it right there beside the sink. And so when I see the water bottle and I'm reminded, oh yeah, I'm thirsty. I want to taste the water. I want to pick up that big bottle and like chug down some water. It's right there next to the sink, and all I got to do is fill it up and then make it satisfying. Um, is for the reward. And so that's something that I haven't built in yet, but sometimes you can, the drinking water is satisfying in and of itself. The feeling of having your thirst quenched is quite nice. But there are also sometimes the reward from a good thing that you do for yourself doesn't feel satisfying in the moment. The satisfaction comes later because it's like a long-term thing. And so in those cases, like, you might create some kind of reward that you give yourself anytime you fulfill that habit. And so that's something that I still need to build into some of these things that I'm trying to do. So that's number one. Number one. The second major principle is this idea that he talks about in the book called don't miss twice. And the basic idea behind that is, if you're trying to build a habit, like a lot of us approach New Year's resolutions or building a habit in this kind of like all or nothing mentality. Like, okay, I've got to do it every single day. I can't miss a day. I've got to make sure that I'm, staying on top of it. And you got your calendar and you put like checks or X's on the days that you do it, and you've got like a string of like, you know, 10, 20 days in a row maybe if you're lucky, and then you miss a day and it's like, no, that's it. I failed. I'm done. I can't. I guess I can't build this habit. And that's oftentimes the way that I would approach building habits, because I am I'm very much kind of an all or nothing kind of person for some things. So, the way that James Clear deals with this in the book is he says, you know what? It's okay if you miss a day. It's all right. Don't don't miss twice. You know, if you missed every other day, like if you made it on Monday and then you missed on Tuesday, and then you made it on Wednesday but you missed on Thursday, that's still, you're doing twice as much as you would if you weren't doing, or not twice as much. Sorry, let me back up. You're still doing more by doing every other day. You're still doing more than you would be if you weren't doing it at all. You're still going to see results from that. And so the important thing isn't like kind of that dogmatic, I've got to make it happen every single day. The important thing is being consistent enough over time, over a long period of time, to see results. And so in that case, like I would even go further and say maybe you miss 2 days in a row, or maybe you miss three. Like at some point, as much as you can, as quickly as you can, get back on the horse. Like your ability to, as quickly as possible, get back on it, not beat yourself up, not give yourself a hard time, but just say, okay, I'm going to start over again. I'm going to start over again. Doing that consistently over time, even though it feels like stopping and starting, you're going to see results. So that's another major principle that I'm bringing with me into this journey of building habits. So that was it. I just wanted to share those things with you, and I wanted to encourage you to check out the book for yourself. Again, it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And if you have any habits that you're trying to build, I would love to be someone who encourages and supports you. Share those in the comments. And that's going to do it for me. Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.